Welcome to another edition of the Juneau Garden. Last month we went to the garden of Gary Willard where he showed us his square foot garden technique. I'm now at my garden. You notice that it's more of a traditional kind of a vegetable garden. A little bit of background for this year with my garden. In April I started some seeds in the hotbed, let me rephrase that, the cold frame, and got some plants growing there. And then Bonnie and I had made a plan to go visit Utah, and we were gone for a total of 18 days. So right before we left, I came down here and planted those plants and hoped that they would be there when I got back. Well, they weren't. They were all dead. So I planted some seeds down here, and I actually had to buy some tomatoes over at Fleet Farm, got some early girls. And so my garden is actually behind this year from where it would probably be had we not gone on that trip. But it's starting to come around now. We've got quite a bit of rain earlier. We've got some good sun and warmth lately. So it's doing a little bit better. Let's take a look at some of the individual plants. These plants in the wire cages are green peppers. They're a bell pepper. I had to grow these from seeds. I planted them in some medium in little pots and transplanted them down here when they were very young. So they are way behind. I had trouble getting them to germinate, and I might have actually planted them a couple of times, planted seeds a couple of times. So they're quite a ways behind where they probably should be at this time of the year. I have early girl tomatoes here, and they're not very big either, as I planted them very late. I do have some small tomatoes here growing, but there's probably some people who are really close to getting tomatoes at this time of the year. And again, these are early girls. I do not use a one stem system, but I do try to get rid of the suckers like these right here. But oftentimes I'll have 2 or 3 stems on my plants. Other people, of course, swear by the one-step method, and they usually will stake them up. I have not had very good success with staking my tomatoes, so I don't, or at least I have not lately. Up here a little farther, again, my pickling cucumbers are way behind. I had a real hard time getting them to grow. Finally, I planted some seed down here and they finally came. Even worse are my zucchini. They would not germinate, and they would not germinate, and they would not germinate. And finally, I have 3 little plants here growing. So I'll probably get some zucchini toward the end of the season. Over here we have butternut squash, and it looks like they're doing pretty well. They look really nice and healthy. Next to them I have pumpkins. Got a real tiny one right here, and back in here, let's see here, got a bigger one in here along with some squash. Watermelon took a long time to germinate, but I see we have a tiny one right here. Hopefully there'll be enough time for us to get some watermelon this year. And these are pumpkins again. These are supposed to be muskmelon or cantaloupe. The one on the left is a cantaloupe. It looks like the one on the right is a cucumber. I think I got them mislabeled when I planted the seeds and then transplanted them down here. This cucumber would be a pickling style. Here we have the slicing cucumbers, and I'm very, very happy with this variety of cucumber. We've been getting some now There's one right here that needs to be picked. Another one over here that's getting close. I have, I think, 2 plants in here. Last year I had 4, and we had cucumbers coming out of our ears. So I'd take them over to the Catholic Church in Horicon for them to give away for their food pantry. Okay, dill. This dill over here are volunteers. I had dill growing in here, oh, maybe 3 years ago. Now every year they reseed themselves. In the long row here on the north side of the garden is green beans, and I froze 3 quart bags of green beans yesterday, and I'll probably need to pick these again tomorrow. They're very good, very tasty. Maybe the most surprising thing here is the sweet corn. I like to grow a variety called bodacious, but I didn't want to spend the money it took to order them by mail or drive all the way to Randolph just to get a package of sweet corn, because everything else I had from previous years. So I bought a couple of packages of sweet corn from Fleet Farm, and it's much smaller than what I expected it to be. I've got 2 plantings. The first planting there is from before we went on our trip to Utah, so that would have been early May. And this second planting here would have been after we returned from Utah. So we're going to have if I can keep the raccoons out of it, looks like we'll have significant amount of sweet corn if it produces okay. So this is my garden down here. I have an upper garden, but it's not doing well at all. As a matter of fact, it's been an experiment that I've been very unhappy with. I have a real hard time getting the plants to germinate. When they do germinate, they end up dying. So a lot of the other kinds of plants that would have in my garden are not down here. Things like carrots didn't grow. Spinach didn't grow. Lettuce didn't grow. I've gotten a few radishes. There's beets and kohlrabi up there. Not kohlrabi, I'm sorry. Turnips. They're about the only things that are doing well. I do have one muskmelon up there. One plant that has some small muskmelon on it. But it's not doing well at all. Alright. That's it for this month.